Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 5:30 News on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us in the middle of your week. Russ is off tonight. I'm Jeanelle Slade. Well, the doors for trade between the U.S. and Japan opening to a $7 billion future for Montana agriculture. President Trump and Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe today signed the first stage of a new trade policy between the two countries. Well, tonight, reaction from Montana. The Montana Ag Network's Lane Nordland has more on how this agreement could benefit our state.
Well, this week's news that the U.S. and Japan reached an agreement on market access for certain agricultural products is boosting the morale of farmers and ranchers here in Montana and across the nation in a time when falling commodity prices and trade have negatively impacted rural America. Important to Montana, Japan will reduce tariffs on products such as fresh and frozen beef and pork, provide a country-specific quota for wheat and wheat products, along with reducing the markup on imported U.S. wheat and barley, among other agricultural goods. Montana U.S. Senator Steve Daines weighed in on today's news.
Today's announcement is a big win for Montana farmers and ranchers. I'm very pleased to see President Trump and Prime Minister Abe of Japan announce this agreement. This will level the playing field, giving us better access for Montana farmers and ranchers into the critical market of Japan. Big win for Montana today.
Now, the new trade agreement will reduce tariffs on fresh and frozen beef along with pork, and those numbers will drop from the current 38.5% tariff to 27.6% and eventually a tariff rate of just 9% by the year 2033. Reporting, Lane Nordland, Montana Ag Network.
Thanks, Lane. Now, the U.S. will provide tariff elimination or reduction on 42 lines of agricultural imports from Japan, valued at $40 million. Well, U.S. Senator Jon Tester also reacting today. He says this trade agreement is a step in the right direction for Montana farmers. Now, Tester also made a move today to help farmers connect with mental health resources by giving them an avenue to manage and reduce mental stress. Q2's Mitch Laggy was on the phone with Senator Tester earlier today and is standing by now with more on the Seeding Rural Resilience Act. Mitch.
Jeanelle, we know suicide has a big impact on Montana, and today Senator Tester told me a big part of his proposed bill would help with that. The bill would provide suicide prevention training to Department of Agriculture employees. Tester spoke specifically of people who work for the Farm Service Agency. This is the agency that farmers turn to for loans, commodity price support, and disaster relief. Through voluntary training, those employees could learn how to recognize suicidal behaviors and how to direct their fellow Montanans to the help they need.
But the truth is those people are really, really good people, and they've been around these farmers. Some of those employees have been there for 35 years. And they know these guys and gals, and they know how they react. Besides that, these folks are part of the community. They don't want to see anybody do something bad to themselves. And I think we're going to get good. I think we'll get a good response from it because, quite frankly, everybody around the country knows this is a problem.
Another aspect of the bill includes the creation of a PSA campaign to promote mental health awareness resources. And Jeanelle, this bill is still in its infancy, and it still needs to be introduced and assigned a committee.
All right, thanks so much, Mitch. Well, our first shot of winter weather is on Montana's doorsteps, and it looks like that mountain snowfall could hit central Montana with 1 to 3 feet. Now, the Storm Tracker weather team has a few reminders as we expect our first freeze this weekend. The cold and wet will put stress on livestock and could affect crops still in the field. Hunters and hikers could run into dangerous conditions in the mountains, and we are expecting winter driving conditions for the first time this season. People traveling north and west of Billings this weekend can expect to hit snow-covered and icy roads. And on the weather team, Bob, things are going to get icky soon. In fact, even moving the annual Saturday Live from Pioneer Park to Skyview High.
First time in 27 years I've done it inside, so that's kind of interesting. Well, let me show you what's going to happen out there. It starts all tomorrow with the winds of change. We're talking some high winds of change. Look at that. That's a high wind warning across basically from Cutbank all the way down through the central part of Montana. We're looking at anywhere from 60 to 80 mile per hour winds. The 80 mile per hour winds, that'll be in the Rocky Mountain front area right around Cutbank and Choteau. Plus, that's where we have our winter storm watch from 18 to 36 inches of snow in those areas. Some places could even get higher amounts of snowfall. And let me show you how this all is going to come about. It starts off with scattered snow showers moving into northwestern Montana on Friday evening, and then by 5:30, it looks like we're seeing a lot of snow showers already starting to make its way into the region. Latest computer models say we could see maybe 2 to 4 feet of snow at Cutbank. This is by through Sunday night at 10 p.m. Let's throw in Monday. That 2 to 4 inches of snow buildings. That's what the computers are saying possible if you extend it over into Monday, and 2 to 4 feet of snow from Helena to Cutbank. Wow. We'll have more on that as time changes. These numbers will probably change as well, but those are the best numbers we have now, and that's what we're going with. Let's go back to Jeanelle.
All right, thanks so much, Bob. Well, perhaps you've noticed some peaks across Big Sky Country already capped with snow. MTN's Curtis Grebnitz explains how some of that snow has likely caused the seasonal closure of Beartooth Pass.
The Beartooth Highway has been closed just outside of Montana. After a series of late summer snowstorms, the iconic mountain highway has been closed on the Wyoming side. Currently, you can still drive from Red Lodge all the way up to the state line, but that's it, and that's likely it for the season. Snow drifts on the road are already several feet deep. Cold temperatures ensure that not much melting will occur. Attempting to keep up with snow plowing becomes futile at a point, and that point seems to be here already. The Wyoming Department of Transportation says the road is closed due to winter conditions and that the estimated opening time is unknown. The Beartooth Highway climbs to 10,350 feet in Montana and 10,947 feet in Wyoming, the highest highway elevation in both states. Snow can cause closures of the road at any time of year, but winter comes on fast at 10,000 feet this time of year. Typically, the highway is opened by the Montana Department of Transportation for Memorial Day weekend. Opening on the Wyoming side can be later, with Yellowstone National Park responsible for snow removal there. Historically, closing the road for the season usually occurs around the second weekend of October. This year, Old Man Winter is ahead of schedule. And now, you're a little more weather-wise.
Well, also in Montana's mountains, another hunter survived a grizzly bear attack in the Grizzly Mountains. Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks officials confirmed that yesterday's attack played out just a few miles away from 2 other attacks last week. MTN's Cody Boyer reports.
They have nothing to lose to come chew on us. They can kill you.
A similar setup to a similar terrifying situation.
This hunter was walking through some downed timber when he was attacked by a bear at a very close range.
Like in last week's attacks, the hunter was prepared.
During the attack, he shot at the bear several times with a pistol. The bear subsequently left.
Morgan Jacobson with FWP says this all happened 8 miles south of Cottonwood Creek, where last Monday, 3 hunters were injured in 2 different attacks, only 11 hours apart.
Wardens and law enforcement personnel with the U.S. Forest Service were able to respond fairly quickly to yesterday's incident because they were still in the Grizzly Mountains.
Jacobson adds it is still unclear if this was the same bear or more.
Bears are moving into what we call hyperphagia, which is a period of time when bears are more active on the landscape. They're consuming more calories in preparation for hibernation.
The hunter was treated in Sheridan and released, but the series of attacks has outfitters like Roundhouse Sports Center in Bozeman talking.
The mawings that we're seeing aren't where the bears are eating on them. It's just a quick fight or flight response.
The staff here at Roundhouse say having a good, strong, reliable backpack out there with you can also go a long way in protecting you in more ways than one. That way you can actually have your bear spray right here on your chest, easily accessible, so if you're forced into a ball to protect yourself, you can activate the bear spray and spray it right over your shoulder.
Roundhouse manager Ryan Merkel adds that traveling in groups is still the way to go.
Always have a backup plan.
And with Montana being Montana, Jacobson says these 4 hunters are very lucky.
Encounters like this are unfortunate. It is the reality in living in bear country.
In Bozeman, Cody Boyer, MTN News.
And the search for bears connected to these cases will start again. Well, an armed robbery on the Billings South Side leaves 1 suspect in custody. Just before 2:30 this afternoon, police responded to the Lucky Cuss Casino on State Street after a man allegedly showed a gun to an employee and fled on foot. He was quickly tracked down and arrested. No one was injured. A 30-year-old Butte woman is now being questioned by police after she was found asleep in her parked vehicle this morning, along with her dead 5-month-old daughter. Police noticed the vehicle shortly before 9 a.m., just a block from the police station. It was running with the doors locked. Now, as police approached the car, they say they saw the woman sleeping on top of her baby. They broke the window to rescue the infant, but it was too late. Police also found a toddler in the back seat. He is now in protective care. No charges have been filed at this time. Well, protecting Montana's children. Last night we brought you a story 20 years in the making, but one that would forever impact children across our state. In 1999, a teenager heard tiny cries coming from inside a Missoula dumpster. A newborn girl was found inside a plastic bag, wrapped in blankets, left to die. Baby Grace was rescued and later adopted and is now a happy, healthy 20-year-old woman. Nadia Grace, that's her name, her story inspired state lawmakers to pass Montana's first Safe Haven Newborn Protection Act. Now, that act allows birth parents to surrender their newborns without legal consequences at any emergency services provider, such as police station, fire station, or hospital. Governor Judy Martz signed it into law in 2001. We spoke with the bill's sponsor about how quickly Montana lawmakers took action.
There was a need for immediate action. So I had done most of my legal career in child abuse and neglect. I had represented children in a lot of different situations, so I knew the law very well. So I submitted a bill draft, immediately to be able to figure out if we could find a way, to protect babies like this. And sure enough, as we checked with other states, there were 12 other states that had laws similar to this. So what we did is take the best provisions of each one of those laws and build them into Montana's law. So that was the bill that was submitted. So I knew that this was a life or death situation, and everybody else realized that. So we knew we had to get some legislation done immediately because it was going to happen again.
Now, Halligan says it's important for people to know this law exists and how it provides options for both parents and babies. He says it passed with unanimous bipartisan support. And there's more news from across our state tonight. The Bitterroot's main orchard in trouble as crews race to harvest its apples before the snowstorm rears its ugly head. We'll have that story and more on tonight's MTN News on the CW. But first, on tonight's 5:30 News, she cemented her place in Montana's history, and now a group is working to give Governor Judy Martz a permanent place in the Capitol building. And in sports, West High's volleyball girls are off to another hot start. Scott shows us why Friday's match is their biggest yet.
You're watching MTN News with Jeanelle Slade and Russ Riesinger. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Green. This is the 5:30 News on Q2, Montana's news leader.